Jinwoo stared at the last of his credits on the small screen. 300 units. That was all he had left. In 2 days, he would not have enough money to buy food. In 5 days, the station would throw him out into space if he could not pay for his room. He sat in the corner of the dingy bar on Ara Station, watching aliens of every kind walk past. Big ones, small ones, ones with scales, ones with fur. 3 weeks ago he had a ship. He had a crew. He had a future. Then the pirates came. Now he had nothing. Jinwoo had asked for work at every place on the station. The mining companies laughed at him. Humans are too weak, they said. The shipping companies turned him away. Humans break too easily, they told him. Even the restaurants would not hire him. You cannot lift the heavy pots, the manager had said. He was running out of options. He was running out of time. You hear about the widow, someone said at the next table. Jinwoo looked up. 2 large aliens with rocky skin were talking. They did not notice him listening. And yeah, I heard. She lost another partner last week. That makes 12 in 2 years. No one wants to work for her anymore. Can you blame them? The deep nexus mines are a death trap. Collapsing dimensions, crazy gravity, radiation everywhere. I would rather be poor than dead. She is desperate now. They say she is asking anyone who will listen. The 2 aliens laughed and walked away. Jinwoo sat very still, desperate. That word echoed in his mind. He was desperate too. Maybe desperate people could help each other. He asked the bartender where to find N. The bartender, a thin alien with 6 eyes, looked at him with something like pity. You do not want to work for her, human. People who go into those mines do not come back the same, if they come back at all. Just tell me where, Jinwoo said. The bartender gave him directions. The compound was at the edge of the station, in the industrial sector where everything smelled like oil and ozone. Large machines sat silent in the darkness. Jinwoo found the building with N's name on it. The door was open. Inside, the office was simple. Metal walls, a few chairs, a large desk covered in papers and glowing screens. Behind the desk sat the most striking alien Jinwoo had ever seen. And was tall, maybe 8 feet. Her skin looked like purple crystal and soft light glowed beneath it in patterns that moved like slow waves. She had 4 arms, each one working on something different. 2 arms typed on screens. 1 arm held a cup of something steaming. The 4th arm rested on the desk. She did not look up when Jinwoo walked in. I am here about work, Jinwoo said. No positions available, and replied without looking at him. Her voice was deep and tired. I heard you need miners. I need miners who can survive. You are human. Humans die in my mines. Jinwoo felt anger rise in his chest. 3 weeks of being told he was too weak. 3 weeks of being dismissed. You have not even looked at me. And finally raised her head. Her eyes were large and completely black, like deep pools. The glowing patterns on her face pulsed once, twice. She studied him for a long moment. Sit, she said. Jinwoo sat in the metal chair across from her. What is your name? Jinwoo. Why do you want this job, Jinwoo? Because I need money. Because everyone else says no. Because I have nothing left to lose. And made a sound that might have been a laugh, but it was not happy. Honest, that is rare. She leaned back in her chair, all 4 arms folded across her chest. Do you know what we mine? No. Graviton ore. It exists in pocket dimensions that are collapsing. We go in, we take what we can, we get out before the dimension crushes itself. The gravity changes every second. Sometimes you weigh nothing. Sometimes you weigh 1,000 pounds. The temperature goes from freezing to burning in minutes. The radiation will kill most species in a few hours. The ore itself makes you see things that are not there. She watched his face as she spoke. Jinwoo tried not to show fear, but his hands tightened on the arms of the chair. The survival rate for experienced miners is 23%, and continued. For new miners it is less. I have had 12 partners in 2 years. 4 quit after 1 day, 3 quit after 1 week, 5 died. Her glowing patterns dimmed. My mate was the 5th. The office was very quiet. I am sorry, Jinwoo said. Do not be sorry, just understand what you are asking for. And stood up, all 8 feet of her. She walked to the window that looked out over the station. Every day I have aliens coming here asking for work. Strong aliens, tough aliens, species that have evolved in harsh environments. They all say they can handle it. They are all wrong. She turned back to him. You are human. Your species is known for being fragile, soft skin, weak bones, bad eyesight. You need perfect temperature and pressure just to stay alive. You are the last species I should hire. Jinwoo stood up too. He was barely over 5 feet tall compared to her 8 feet, but he met her eyes. Then, why are you still talking to me? And's patterns pulsed brighter for a moment. Because I am desperate. Because I have tried everything else. Because maybe, just maybe, there is something about humans that the statistics do not show. She walked back to her desk and pulled up a screen. I do not need another worker, Jinwoo. Workers come and go. They work for pay, and when the work gets too hard, they leave. I need something different. What do you need? And looked at him with those deep black eyes, her 4 arms spread wide. I need a partner who can stay, someone who will not quit when things get hard, someone who will not run when they see what the mines really are, someone who will not die in the first week. She leaned forward. I need someone who can last, someone with endurance, someone who does not give up. Her voice dropped lower. Can your kind even survive a single shift? Can you stay? Jinwoo thought about his lost ship, his lost crew. 3 weeks of being told he was not good enough. 300 credits between him and the void of space. He had nothing left but his own stubborn will to keep going. I do not know if I can survive, Jinwoo said slowly. But I know I will not quit. If I die trying, but I will not walk away. And stared at him for a long time. Then she held out one of her 4 hands. 1 week trial. If you survive, we talk about partnership. If you quit or die, you get nothing. Jinwoo took her hand. Her skin was cool and smooth like glass. I will survive. We will see, and said. But something in her glowing patterns looked almost like hope. The alarm went off at 4 in the morning. Jinwoo had barely slept. His small room in the miners' quarters was cold and smelled like metal. He got dressed in the clothes and had given him and walked to the equipment room. A massive alien was waiting there. He had 6 legs, thick armor plating, and arms like tree trunks. He looked at Jinwoo the way someone might look at a bug. So you are the human, the alien said. His voice sounded like rocks grinding together. I am X. I run the mining crews, and says I have to take you down. Nice to meet you, Jinwoo said. X made a rumbling sound. I give you 3 days, maybe 2, then you will run away crying like the others. He picked up a pressure suit from the rack and threw it at Jinwoo. Put this on. The suit was old and patched in many places. Jinwoo looked at the other suits hanging on the wall. They looked newer, better. Can I have one of those? Those are for real miners, X said. You get the test suit. If you last a week, you get a better one. Jinwoo wanted to argue, but he needed this job. He put on the suit. It was too big and smelled bad. The helmet display flickered when he turned it on, but it worked. Barely. 6 other miners joined them. They were all different species, all big and tough-looking. They looked at Jinwoo and whispered to each other. One of them laughed. They took an elevator down into the deep parts of the station. Then they walked through a long tunnel. At the end was a large metal door with warning signs in 10 different languages. All of them said the same thing: danger, unstable dimension, enter at your own risk. X pressed his hand to the panel. The door opened. Beyond it was something Jinwoo had never seen before. The air itself looked wrong, like it was folded or twisted. Colors that should not exist swirled in patterns that hurt to watch. Welcome to the deep nexus, X said. Try not to die on your first day, it makes paperwork. They stepped through. The world changed. Jinwoo felt like he was falling and flying at the same time. His stomach lurched. The gravity suddenly tripled and he fell to his knees. His suit alarms started screaming, temperature dropping, radiation levels rising, gravity unstable. "Get up, human," X's voice came through the radio. "Move or die." Jinwoo forced himself to stand. Each step felt like lifting a mountain. Around him, the other miners moved with difficulty, but they moved. They had done this before. They knew how. The mine itself was like a cave made of folded space. The walls shifted and moved. Sometimes Jinwoo could see through them to other places, other times. The graviton ore glowed blue and purple in the walls. It was beautiful. It was terrifying. "You take this section," X said, pointing Jinwoo to a small tunnel. "Use the extractor, fill your bag. When the alarm sounds, you run back to the door. If you are not back in time, you stay here forever. Understood?" Jinwoo nodded. He could not trust his voice. He went into the tunnel, alone. The first hour was the worst hour of Jinwoo's life. The gravity kept changing. One moment he floated. The next moment he weighed 1,000 pounds. His muscles screamed. His bones ached. The temperature went from freezing cold to burning hot. His suit could barely keep up. The radiation made his head hurt. The ore made him see things, shadows that moved wrong, whispers in languages he did not know. Once he thought he saw his dead crew standing in the tunnel, reaching for him. He closed his eyes and kept working. The extractor was a simple tool. Point it at the ore, pull the trigger, collect what came out. But his hands shook so badly he could barely hold it. Every time he filled a piece of ore into his bag, he wanted to quit, wanted to run back to the door and never come back. But he did not run, he kept working. After 4 hours, the alarm sounded. Jinwoo dragged himself back to the door. The other miners were already there. They looked tired but okay. Jinwoo could barely stand. He fell through the door and landed hard on the solid floor of the station. He threw up inside his helmet. The suit systems cleaned it up, but the smell remained. X looked down at him. "Not bad for a human. Most of your kind pass out in the first hour. You get 6 hours of rest. Then we go back." Jinwoo wanted to cry. 6 hours of rest, then do it all again. He could not. It was impossible. But when the alarm went off 6 hours later, he got up. He put on the suit. He went back in. Day 2 was worse. His body hurt everywhere. His muscles were torn. His head pounded from the radiation. But something strange happened. His body started to remember, started to adapt. When the gravity changed, his legs knew how to adjust. When the temperature shifted, his body was ready. On day 3, another miner collapsed. A big alien with scales and 4 arms. He just stopped moving in the middle of his tunnel. They had to drag him out. He was alive, but his mind was gone. The dimensional distortions had broken something inside his head. Jinwoo watched them carry him away. This could happen to him. This probably would happen to him. But still he went back in, back to the tunnels, back to the work. The other miners started to notice. On day 4, one of them, a with gray skin, spoke to Jinwoo during rest period. "You should leave," they said. "The widow is cursed. Everyone who works for her dies or goes mad. You seem like a good person. Do not waste your life here." "I cannot leave," Jinwoo said. "I have nowhere else to go. Better to be poor than dead." "Maybe," Jinwoo said, "but I told her I would stay. I do not break my word." They looked at him with sad eyes. "Then you will die here, human. I am sorry." But Jinwoo did not die. Day 5 came and he was still working. His body had changed. His heart beat slower now, more efficient. His muscles had learned to work with less oxygen. His mind had found a rhythm in the chaos of the dimension. He noticed patterns in the gravity shifts. 3 seconds of low gravity, then 5 seconds of high. The temperature changed in waves. If he timed his work right, he could avoid the worst of it. His brain, shaped by millions of years of human evolution, found the patterns that others missed. On day 6, X stood watching Jinwoo work from the control room. The human should be dead, should have quit. Every other species needed enhancement drugs by day 3. The human had refused them, said they would mess with his baseline, whatever that meant. But here he was, still working, still moving, still alive. X called him, "You need to see this," and came to the control room. She watched Jinwoo on the screens, watched him work through gravity changes that would crush a normal being, watched him endure temperatures that would cook others, watched him keep going when everyone else had predicted his failure. "What is he?" X asked. "I do not know," In said quietly. Her glowing patterns pulsed with something that might have been hope, "but I want to find out." Day 7 came. Jinwoo completed his last shift. When he came out of the mine, X was waiting. The big alien looked at Jinwoo with what might have been respect. "You survived," X said. "First time I have lost a bet in 20 years." Jinwoo could barely stand, but he smiled. "Do I get a better suit now?" X actually laughed. "You get whatever you want, human, you earned it." N was there too. She looked at Jinwoo with her deep black eyes. "Come to my office tonight. We need to talk about partnership." Jinwoo nodded. He had survived, he had stayed. Now the real work would begin. Jinwoo took the longest shower of his life. The water was cold, but he did not care. He watched a week of dirt and sweat wash away down the drain. His body was covered in bruises. His muscles ached, but he was alive. He had survived. He put on clean clothes and walked to N's office. The station outside was dark. It was late-night cycle. Most workers were sleeping. Jinwoo's footsteps echoed in the empty corridors. N's office door was open. She sat behind her desk, but this time she was not working. She was just sitting there looking at something in her hands. When Jinwoo got closer, he saw it was a small crystal that glowed with soft blue light. "Come in," she said without looking up. "Sit down." Jinwoo sat in the same metal chair from a week ago. It felt like a lifetime had passed since then. And set the crystal down gently. "You survived, I am surprised." "So am I," Jinwoo admitted. "X tells me you refused the enhancement drugs. Why?" "Because drugs change how your body works. I wanted to know what I could really do. My real limits, not fake ones." N's glowing patterns pulsed brighter. "Smart. Most beings try to cheat. They use drugs, they use technology. Then when those things fail, they fail too." She leaned forward. "But you wanted to know your true self. That is wisdom." "I do not know about wisdom," Jinwoo said. "I was just scared the drugs would make things worse." "Fear can be wisdom too," and stood up and walked to the window. "I need to tell you some things, things I have not told the others." Jinwoo waited. "My mate's name was Axe," and said quietly. "We ran this mine together for 5 years. It was hard work, but it was good work. We made enough money to help our families, to help the workers. 300 families on this station depend on the money from this mine." She touched the window with one hand. "Then 6 months ago something changed. The pocket dimension started collapsing faster. The ore started running out. The danger got worse. Axe went in to check a new tunnel. There was a dimensional rupture. She stopped talking for a moment. "He did not come back." "I am sorry," Jinwoo said. "After he died, I tried to keep the mine running, but I could not do it alone. I needed help. I hired partners, strong species, smart species, species that should have been able to handle the work." She turned back to Jinwoo. "They all failed. Some quit because it was too hard. Some died because they were not careful. Some went mad from the dimensional effects." "Why not just close the mine?" Jinwoo asked. "Because if I close the mine, 300 families lose their income. Their children go hungry. The station government will not help them. No one will help them. This mine is all they have." Her 4 arms spread wide. "This mine is all I have. It is the last piece of axe I have left." Jinwoo understood now. This was not just about money or business. This was about keeping a promise to the dead, about keeping people alive. "There is more," and said. She pulled up a screen and showed Jinwoo charts and numbers. "The dimensional instability is getting worse. At the current rate, the mine will become completely unusable in 6 months, maybe less. Can it be fixed?" "I do not know. I have tried everything I know, but technology is not enough. I need something different, a different way of thinking." She looked at Jinwoo. "That is why I was hoping you would survive." "Why humans?" Jinwoo asked. "We are weak, fragile, everyone says so." And sat back down and pulled up another screen. "After your first day, I could not sleep. I kept thinking about how you survived when you should not have. So I looked up information about humans, about Earth, about your species." She showed him the screen. It was full of data about human history. "Humans evolved as persistent hunters," and said. "You chased prey for days until they died of exhaustion. You walked out of Africa with no claws, no fangs, no armor, just determination. You survived ice ages. You survived droughts. You built civilizations in deserts and jungles and frozen wastelands. Every time your species should have died, you adapted. You endured. You survived." Jinwoo had never thought about his species that way before. "Other species are stronger than you," and continued. "Faster, tougher, but no species has your endurance, your ability to keep going when everything says to quit, your psychological resistance to giving up." She looked directly at him. "I read about human soldiers who fought in wars, artists who created beauty in death camps, explorers who crawled out of deserts with broken legs. Your species has something that cannot be measured in strength or speed." "What is that?" "Stubbornness," and said. "Pure, absolute refusal to quit, and that is what I need, what this mine needs." Jinwoo felt something strange in his chest. Pride, maybe, or purpose. "What do you want me to do?" "I want you to be my partner, true partner, equal. We work together to save this mine, to keep those 300 families fed, to stabilize the dimensions, to make this work." She held out her hand. "Not just for pay, not just for work, but as true equals working toward the same goal." Jinwoo looked at her hand. This was more than just a job offer. This was trust, respect, belief. "I have one condition," Jinwoo said. An's patterns flickered with surprise. "What condition?" "We do this as real partners. That means you do not get to protect me. You do not get to treat me like I am fragile. If we are equals, we share everything. The risks, the decisions, the work, everything." And was quiet for a long moment. In culture, there were always hierarchies, always someone on top, someone on bottom. But this human was asking for something different, true equality. "You understand this might mean you die?" and asked. "I understand, but I would rather die as an equal than live as someone who is protected and looked down on." An's glowing patterns pulsed bright, brighter than Jinwoo had ever seen. She stood up and held out not one hand, but all 4 of her hands. "Then we are partners," she said, "true partners." Jinwoo stood and took all 4 hands. They were cool and smooth and strong. "Partners," he agreed. They shook on it. In that moment, something changed between them. They were no longer employer and worker. They were 2 people who had both lost everything, who both had nothing left but determination, who both refused to give up. "So what do we do first?" Jinwoo asked. And smiled. It was the first time Jinwoo had seen her smile. It made her face glow brighter. "First, we get you a proper suit. Then we start planning. I will teach you mining technology. You will teach me human problem solving. Together, maybe we can find a way to save this place. And if we cannot, then we go down trying, together." Jinwoo nodded. "I can live with that." They spent the rest of the night planning, and showed him technical readouts of the dimensional instability. Jinwoo asked questions that made her think differently. They drank something that instead was traditional tea. It tasted terrible, but it helped them stay awake. As the station's day cycle started, and light began to filter through the windows, and looked at Jinwoo with tired eyes. "You know what the interesting thing is," she said. 12 partners before you, all of them stronger, bigger, tougher, but you are the first one I actually believe might help me succeed." "Why?" "Because you already proved you can stay, and staying is the hardest part." Jinwoo smiled. His body hurt. His future was uncertain. The work ahead would be impossible. But for the first time in months, he felt something he had not felt since the pirates destroyed his ship. He felt hope. The next 8 weeks changed everything. Jinwoo and An worked together every day. She taught him how to read dimensional readouts and understand mining equipment. He taught her about human management techniques and safety protocols. They argued sometimes. Humans and thought differently about many things, but they always found middle ground. Jinwoo made his first big change in week 2. He gathered all the miners together. "From now on, we work in 4-hour shifts instead of 8-hour shifts," he announced. "And every shift gets a 30-minute break." The miners looked at each other in confusion. X crossed his big arms. "That means less ore collected, less money." "It means less accidents," Jinwoo replied. "Tired miners make mistakes. Mistakes kill people. If we keep everyone fresh, we work better and safer." "Humans and their soft ideas," one miner muttered. But An supported Jinwoo. "We try it for 2 weeks. If it does not work, we go back to the old way." After 2 weeks, the accident rate had dropped by 30%. The miners were happier. They worked faster because they were not exhausted. Even X had to admit it worked. Jinwoo kept making changes. He started team meetings where miners could talk about problems. He created a rotation system so everyone got breaks from the worst tunnels. He even started something he called mental health check-ins, where miners could talk about the stress and fear. The other species thought it was strange at first. "Why talk about feelings?" they asked. "Just work." But after a miner named broke down crying during a meeting about losing his friend in an accident, everyone understood. Talking about fear made it smaller. Sharing pain made it bearable. And watched all of this with amazement. "Humans are strange," she told Jinwoo one night. "You make everything about emotions and teams. Just work harder when things are difficult." "And how many have you lost to stress and breakdowns?" Jinwoo asked gently. And was quiet. "Too many." "Exactly. Sometimes strength means asking for help. Sometimes survival means working together, not alone." In week 4, Jinwoo had a breakthrough. He was in the mines when he felt a gravity shift coming. He could not explain how he knew. It was like his body could sense the dimension starting to fold. He warned the other miners and got everyone out just before a major collapse. "How did you know?" X asked. "I do not know, I just felt it." And was very interested in this. She ran tests. She discovered that humans had something other species did not. Human brains were very good at finding patterns in chaos. Millions of years of evolution had made humans excellent at predicting things based on tiny clues. "You are reading dimensional shifts without knowing it," and explained. "Your unconscious mind sees patterns my equipment cannot measure." They started using this. Jinwoo would go into the mines and feel the dimensions. He could predict shifts with about 70% accuracy. Combined with N's technology, they could predict shifts with 90% accuracy. This saved lives and helped them mine more efficiently. By week 6, the operation was running better than it had in years. Accidents were down 45%. Production was up 20%. The miners were healthier and happier. Even the families who depended on the mine noticed the change. One day, a young human woman came to the office. Her name was. She was an engineer from another part of the station. "I heard that a human is working here," she said to Jinwoo. "I heard you survived. I want to help too." Jinwoo looked at him and looked back at him. They did not need to speak. They understood each other now. "Can you handle hard work?" Jinwoo asked. "I am human," said with a smile. "We do not quit." She was hired. She brought new ideas about engineering and equipment maintenance. More importantly, she brought hope that maybe humans could do more in this galaxy than people thought. But not everyone was happy about the mine's success. Helix Consolidated was a large mining corporation. They wanted to buy the deep Nexus mines for cheap. They had been waiting for it to fail, but now the mine was succeeding. This was a problem for them. In week 7, strange things started happening. Equipment broke for no reason. Supplies went missing. Safety inspections found problems that were not there before. Someone was sabotaging the operation. Jinwoo and An reviewed the security footage. They saw a miner they did not recognize. When they investigated, they found he was working for Helix. He was breaking things and making the mine look dangerous. They fired him and tightened security, but the damage was done. Station officials were asking questions. Safety inspectors were coming every week. Rumors spread that the mine was still dangerous. Then the accident happened. Jinwoo and were working in a new tunnel. They were testing a theory about dimension stabilization. Suddenly, there was an explosion. The tunnel began collapsing. They ran for the exit, but debris blocked the way. They were trapped, and saw it happen from the control room. Her patterns flashed with panic. She called for rescue teams, but the tunnel was too unstable. They could not get in without causing another collapse. "How long until the dimension completely fails?" X asked. 6 hours, maybe less." "Then they are dead. No one can survive 6 hours in there." But An remembered what Jinwoo had told her about humans, about endurance, about refusing to quit. She grabbed her equipment. "I am going in." "You will die too," X said. "Then I die," and looked at him with fierce eyes. "He is my partner. Partners do not abandon each other." Inside the collapsed tunnel, Jinwoo and were working to stay alive. The gravity was crushing them. The temperature was dropping fast. Their suits were damaged and losing air. "We are not going to make it," said. She sounded scared but calm. "Yes, we are," Jinwoo said firmly. "Listen to me. We need to slow our breathing, conserve oxygen, keep our bodies warm by staying close together. We survived a week in the mines. We can survive 6 hours in a tunnel." "Jinwoo, the suits are failing." "Then we fix them. What do you have in your tool belt?" They worked together, using pieces of broken equipment to patch their suits. It was not perfect, but it bought them time. Jinwoo kept talking, kept her focused. He told her about his lost ship. She told him about her family on Earth. They made plans for what they would do when they got out. Not if when. After 4 hours they heard something, cutting sounds. Someone was breaking through the debris. "Stay back," An's voice came through the radio. "I am cutting through. Do not move toward the debris or it will collapse again." "And it is too dangerous," Jinwoo shouted. "Did you think I would let my partner die?" An's voice was fierce. "I told you, we are equals, we share the risks. Now shut up and let me work." It took another hour, but An cut through. She pulled Jinwoo and out just minutes before the entire tunnel collapsed completely. They lay on the ground outside, breathing hard. Jinwoo's suit was barely holding together, was crying from relief. An's 4 arms were shaking from exhaustion. "You are insane," Jinwoo said to An. "You could have died." "So could you," An replied. "That is what partners means, remember, we share everything." Later, they investigated the explosion. They found evidence of sabotage. Someone had planted a device to cause the tunnel to collapse. Helix was not just spreading rumors anymore. They were trying to kill people. That night, Jinwoo sat in his office. His body hurt. His mind was tired, but he was angry. "They almost killed us," he said. "They almost killed." "I know. What do we do?" An's patterns glowed with determination. "We prove them wrong. We show the station that this mine is safe, that we can do this." She looked at Jinwoo. "But we do not have much time. The station governor is going to order us to close down. We have 30 days to prove the mine can be completely safe. 30 days, that is impossible. Then we do the impossible, and held out her hands, together. Jinwoo took her hands. They were partners. They had survived sabotage and near death. They would survive this too. They had to. 300 families depended on them. The next morning, station governor came to the mine. He was tall with scales that shimmered green and gold. Behind him came safety inspectors and legal advisors. They all looked serious. N said in his official voice, "Due to the recent accident and numerous safety violations, I am issuing an order. You have 30 days to prove this mine is completely safe. If you cannot, it will be shut down permanently." And stood tall, all four arms at her sides. "We will prove it." "I hope so, for the sake of the workers and their families." Looked uncomfortable. "I am sorry, N. I have no choice." After they left, Jinwoo knew something was wrong. "He looked guilty," Jinwoo said. "Because he is," and replied bitterly. "Helix has been paying him, not enough to be illegal, but enough to make him sympathetic to their interests. They want this mine shut down so they can buy it cheap." "Can we report him?" "Who would we report to? Helix owns half the station council," and sat down heavily. "We cannot win by fighting corruption. We can only win by doing the impossible." Jinwoo thought hard. They needed to make the mine completely safe in 30 days. With current technology, that was impossible. They needed something new, something different. Then he had an idea. "How many humans are on the station?" he asked. 15, including you and why?" "Because humans are good at one thing better than any other species. We are good at desperate innovation under pressure. We are good at solving impossible problems when we have no choice but to solve them." Jinwoo contacted every human on the station. He explained the situation. He asked for help. They all came. There was Yang, a structural engineer who worked on station maintenance. There was a quantum physicist who studied dimensional theory. There was Min Ho, a programmer. There was a medical doctor. 15 humans, all different skills, all willing to help. They met in An's office. It was crowded, but Jinwoo felt hope for the first time in days. "We have 30 days to do something no one has done before," Jinwoo said. "We need to completely stabilize the pocket dimensions, make the mine permanently safe." "That is impossible," said, but she was smiling. "I love impossible problems." They worked day and night. The humans brought ideas that technology had never considered. Yang suggested using harmonic resonance to stabilize dimensional walls, proposed quantum entanglement bridges to predict collapses before they happened. Min Ho wrote programs that could process more data than any computer, and worked with them, combining human creativity with technical knowledge. It was chaos. It was beautiful. It was working. After 2 weeks, made a breakthrough discovery. She burst into the office where everyone was working, her eyes wide with excitement. "I found it," she shouted. "I know why humans can sense dimensional shifts." Everyone stopped working and listened. "Human brains evolved to process incomplete information and make intuitive leaps," explained rapidly. "We had to predict where prey would go, what weather would come, where water would be. We got really good at finding patterns in chaos. Dimensional shifts are chaotic, but they have patterns. Human neural patterns can interface with dimensional fields in ways AI cannot because we do not need complete data. We can guess. We can intuit. We can feel." "What does this mean?" Anne asked. "It means we can use human operators to stabilize the dimensions. If we create an interface that connects human brains to dimensional stabilizers, we can predict and prevent collapses before they happen." Everyone was quiet, then Yang spoke up. "That sounds dangerous. What happens to the human brain?" "It would be exhausting," admitted. "Mentally draining, but not permanent damage. We would need shifts, rotations, rest periods." Jinwoo understood immediately. "You want to use us as living computers." Living stabilizers, corrected. You would be the bridge between the technology and the dimensions. Human intuition combined with technology. I volunteer, Jinwoo said immediately. Jinwoo no, and protested. It is too dangerous. We do not even know if it will work. It will work, and someone has to go first. Jinwoo looked at her steadily. Besides, this is what partners do, remember, we share the risks. Anne's patterns flickered with worry, but she nodded. They built the interface in 5 days. It was a chair connected to computers connected to dimensional stabilizers. Jinwoo sat in the chair. They placed a device on his head. It felt cold. "Are you ready?" asked. "Do it," Jinwoo said. They turned it on. Jinwoo gasped. Suddenly he could feel the dimensions, not just see them on screens but feel them, like they were part of his body. He could sense where they were weak, where they were strong, where they were about to collapse. It was overwhelming, beautiful, terrifying. "I can feel it," he whispered. "I can feel all of it." "Can you stabilize Sector 7? Anne asked. "It has been unstable for days." Jinwoo focused. It was like flexing a muscle he never knew he had. He pushed at the dimensional weakness with his mind. The dimensions responded. On the screens, Sector 7's instability decreased by 60%. "It works," shouted. "It actually works." But Jinwoo slumped in the chair. His nose was bleeding. His head hurt like someone was splitting it open. 30 minutes maximum, said, checking his vital signs. Any longer and it could cause permanent damage. Then we use rotations, Yang said. Multiple operators. No one stays connected for more than 20 minutes. Over the next 2 weeks, they refined the system. Volunteered to be the second operator. Then Min-ho. Then, all the humans took turns. They created a network of human stabilizers working in shifts, keeping the dimensions stable 24 hours a day. The results were incredible. Dimensional collapses dropped by 80%. Accidents dropped by 90%. The mine was safer than it had ever been. Workers who had been scared to go in now went in with confidence. But Helix was not done. 3 days before the governor's inspection, someone tried to sabotage the stabilization system. They broke into the control room and tried to destroy the equipment. X caught them. It was 3 Helix operatives hired to make sure the mine failed. X was big and angry. He held them until station security came. "This is proof of corporate sabotage," and told the security chief. "Helix has been trying to destroy us from the beginning." The security chief looked uncomfortable. "I will investigate." "Will you?" Jinwoo asked. "Or will Helix pay you to look the other way?" The security chief did not answer, but he took the saboteurs away. The day of the final inspection came. Governor arrived with a team of inspectors, safety experts, and engineers. Helix representatives came too, looking confident. They expected the mine to fail. En and Jinwoo showed them everything. The human stabilization network, the new safety protocols, the reduced accident rates, the happy, healthy workers, the families who depended on the mine. The inspectors ran every test they could think of. They checked dimensional stability, radiation levels, gravity fluctuations, equipment safety. They interviewed workers. They reviewed accident reports. It took 6 hours. Finally, the head inspector, an old named On, looked at his data pad. Then he looked at it. "I have been a safety inspector for 40 years, On said slowly. "I have never seen anything like this. Your accident rate is down 89%. Your productivity is up 200%. Your workers are healthier and happier than any mining operation in this sector." He paused. "The human stabilization network is revolutionary. It should not work, but it does." "So?" and asked, her voice tight. On smiled. "So I am certifying this mine as safe for 50 years of operation. It is now the safest mining operation on the station." The room erupted in cheers. Hugged, Yang shook Min-ho's hand. X punched the air with his massive fist. The Helix representatives looked sick. Governor stood up. He looked at Jinwoo and En. "You did the impossible. I did not think it could be done." He glanced at the Helix representatives. "And certain parties will not be happy about this." "Then certain parties should not have tried to sabotage us," Jinwoo said calmly. Actually smiled a little. "Indeed, congratulations." 6 months later, the Deep Nexus mine was the most profitable operation on the station. The 300 families who depended on it were thriving. Workers from other species came asking to learn the human techniques. Other mining companies wanted to study the stabilization network. Jinwoo and En stood in the office, looking out at the mine. The human stabilization network hummed quietly in the corner. Workers moved safely through the tunnels below. "I asked for someone who could stay," En said quietly. "You gave me more than that. You gave me a future. You gave 300 families a future." Jinwoo smiled. "You asked if humans could survive. Surviving is what we do best." He looked at her. "But thriving, that is what we do together." En's 4 hands reached out. Jinwoo took them all. They stood there together, partners in every sense of the word. 2 beings from different worlds who had found something neither expected. Hope, purpose, friendship. Outside the office, a new sign was being installed at the mine entrance. Workers stopped to look at it and smile. It read, "Deep Nexus Mines Partners in Persistence." Below that, in smaller letters, "Where humans and aliens work together to do the impossible." Jinwoo looked at the sign and felt pride swell in his chest. He had come to this station with nothing. No ship, no crew, no future. Just 300 credits and a stubborn refusal to quit. Now he had everything: a partner, a purpose, a family of workers who depended on him, and proof that humans, despite being weak and fragile, had something no other species could match. The ability to stay, the refusal to quit, the determination to make the impossible possible. That night, more humans arrived at the station, having heard about the mine's success. They came looking for work, looking for purpose, looking for a chance to prove that humans belonged in this galaxy. And looked at Jinwoo with a question in her glowing eyes. Jinwoo smiled. "Let us hire them. We have a lot more impossible things to accomplish." Together, and agreed. Together, Jinwoo repeated. And somewhere in the deep nexus, in the folded spaces between dimensions, the graviton ore glowed a little brighter, as if celebrating the partnership between 2 species who had learned that strength comes in many forms. Sometimes it looks like muscles and claws. Sometimes it looks like stubbornness and hope. And sometimes it looks like a human and an alien standing side by side, refusing to give up on each other or the people who depend on them. That, more than anything, was what made humans special in this galaxy. They stayed.